All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, coming at you with part 3 of 3 from the person-worker pretest that we did today, Tuesday, the 28th of February. And I've already gone through with you the person class. We did that first. And then the worker class, which inherited from person. And now we're going to quickly go through the driver main. All right, as I mentioned before, with all three of these, I have the using static system.console. All right, and in main, the first thing I do is I create four different worker objects: W1, W2, W3, and W4. Granted, I was not very innovative with the names, but they work just fine. With the first one, so that I can test. Remember, I came back and in my worker program, in the constructor, my person program in the constructor, I went in and added this stuff so I can check for blanks. All right. Now, in my first worker, I've got a blank first name. In the second worker, I've got a blank last name. In the third worker, I've got a blank social security number. In the first worker, not only do I have a blank first name, but I also have an invalid, that's an invalid ID number. So this should print out, for the first record, should say unknown FN Watkins, social security number 222-22-2222. For the ID number, it should be the default of 99999. The hours worked should be 40, the hourly rate should be 10, and the calculated gross pay should be 400. And if we look at the run, unknown FN, Watkins, the twos, 9, 40, 10, and 40 times 10, which is 400. So that's our first employee. Then the second one, we've got a valid first name, nothing in the last name, so that's invalid. A valid social security number, a valid ID number. Now we've got an invalid number of hours worked, because remember, our range or domain in there is 0 to 84, and I put in 400. So that should be changed to 40. This is 15, which is valid. So this should say William, unknown L name, social security number, followed by this, 2000 for the ID number, 40 for the hours worked, and 15 for the hourly rate. 40 times 15 should give us 600. So that second employee is William, unknown, with the fours, 2000, a valid ID number. We've changed this from what it was, which was 400 to 40, 15, and 600. So that one works. So our first two appear to work correctly. Our third worker is Charles King. Valid first name, valid last name, but nothing for the social security number, so that should be replaced with our default, which was XXX-XX-XXXX. Valid ID number, valid hours worked, invalid hourly rate, because again, remember, our domain for our hourly rate is 10 through 25. So this should say Charles King, XXX-XX-XXXX. There's the ID number. There's the hours worked. This should change to 20. 60 times 20 is 1200. And if we look at that, valid, valid, default, valid, valid, changed. Remember, this was 1000. Since that's out of range, it was changed to 20. 60 times 20 is 1200. So our third employee works. Our third employee works just fine. Finally, our fourth one, which are all valid. Valid first name, valid last name, social security number, valid ID number, valid hours worked, valid hourly rate, 50 times 10, since we are not doing any overtime. That should just say Scott Stevens, social security number, ID number, hours worked, hourly rate, and then the gross pay should be 500. And if we look at the last record, valid, whoops, one more, valid, 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 500. All right, so that all appears to be working exactly as it should. So again, we are instantiating right there. We are instantiating 4 different worker objects. All right. Then we create an array which is going to hold each one of those worker objects. But we create it first. It's of type person, which is okay because a worker is a person. All right. And it's of size 4. So in the first element, we add W1, which was this one. In the second one, we add W2, which was this one. In the third one, we add W3, which was this one. And in the fourth one, we add W4, which was this one. So that's what we're doing here. So here we are creating the array, and here we are initializing the array. And it shouldn't say, I guess it should say with workers of the derived types. All right. And that should also say workers here. They are employees, but they're workers. This then will go through and iterate through all of the information that's in there. That's what this does. This iterates through each one of those records. After we've iterated through each record, then we call the gross pay method. All right? So this iterates through all of the instance variables. So it first calls the WriteLine method for worker. And WriteLine for worker, remember, the first thing it does is it calls the parent, that's the base, and it passes in there the employee's first name, last name, and social security number. Then the rest of the 3 fields, the ID number, the hours worked, and the hourly rate are handled here. No special formatting because that's a string. Here, we're at F2, so it's 2 decimal places. And here, currency. Now again, I'm going to leave this up like I did last time. So I will leave this up from the top. All right. So you can see everything, should be able to see everything on the screen there. Okay. And I will leave that up there for just a couple minutes, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to drag up so you can see the rest of it. Okay? Oops. There we go. Leave it right there and I'll be right back. Hopefully you've had enough time to copy that down if you so desire. Otherwise, you can always bring this up, pause it, and take a look at it. So let me put the rest of this up there. All right. And I'll leave that up there, but let me just go back one last time, run the program so that you can see the output. Okay? So what I'm going to try to do is try to put that all, there we go. So now you can see the rest of the program over here and the associated output over here. I'll leave that up there for a couple minutes. All right. Then I want to quickly save this, produce this. I've already got the other two produced, and throw all three of them out onto my YouTube channel and then send an email to everyone letting you know where those are. So I'll be right back. All right, hopefully you've had enough time to take a look at all that. Again, if you have not, you can always bring it up on the tape and pause it and take a look at it. All right, so that ends the third of our three presentations. All three of these will be put out in just a minute. Plus, I will email all of you, including links to the actual YouTube presentations. So I'll be back with that very shortly. Thanks.